There we go. There we go. Good evening. Hello, hello, people. How y'all doing? Happy Saturday evening. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. It's been a long time, but I'm back, baby. Got good sauce tonight. I'm gonna break down. Get my camera right. I'm gonna break down how. Got a little dust on my shoulder. How to save your house from foreclosure. Okay. I've been running into people. A lot of people are in foreclosure right now. And see, that's what we're going to get correct on the first time. Pre foreclosure. All right. So a lot of folks are in pre foreclosure. There's a lot of unethical things that go down in the foreclosure arena. That's why I'm here. Knowledge is power. Knowing information, power. All right, so if you in, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. I'm Carlton, one half of the GNC show. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a influencer. I'm a content creator. I'm a dad. Blah blah blah. I'm a fiance. I'm the whole nine. So been doing real estate 10 years. Started out as a realtor. Give you a brief summary and background about me if you've never been to the channel. Started out as a realtor in 2015. Went full-time 2016, full-time realtor for about 3 years, worked my way up as a broker. Got bored with that. Yeah, I got bored with that. And I jumped into wholesaling. Jumped into house flipping today. So today I'm house flipping, I'm landlord, and I'm wholesaling, and I'm a coach and a mentor. So welcome. But nonetheless, let's get to it. Enough rambling. So we're going to discuss a few things. This foreclosure thing, pre-foreclosure. This pre-foreclosure thing can get tricky, but it's not as tricky as you think it might be. Especially for my hardworking folks out there who are, bust their behind, work their whole life, save their money up, and you go through a rough patch in life. Hold on, put my phone on silent. You go through a rough patch in life, and hey, no one's perfect. No one's perfect, man. So I've been working with people for about 7 years of foreclosures, and I've seen a lot. And through my time and my continuation, helping people. So how do I help people? A lot of people think, okay, I'm an investor. I want to make money. Yeah, but there's been many times I've sat in homes, I've sat in kitchens and living rooms with homeowners, and the first thing I tell them is, listen. You facing foreclosure is not the. Let me start right there. If you're facing foreclosure, it's not the end of the world. I'm gonna say that one more time. If you fall into pre-foreclosure, you fall behind on your payments, and we're gonna talk about payments and how that works. It's not the end of the world, especially if you got an FHA, especially if you got a government-backed loan like a VA. Okay. Let me say this, majority of the banks out there are going to be willing to work with you if this is your first time, even if it's your second time. Now, every bank ain't the same. If you a habitual offender, then you might run into some trouble, and we're gonna get into it, man. So again, I ran into some people, last couple of weeks, few months, and I'm just tired of seeing this. So let's start with how does pre-foreclosure, how does a pre-foreclosure get triggered? By the way, share my video. More people can see this. Just share the video. If you don't hit the sauce, if you don't hit the like button, I'm fine with that. I'd rather for you to share it. Share it on your Facebook, share it with your friends and families, co-workers, etc. What triggers a foreclosure attempt from a bank? Maybe I worded that wrong. What triggers your lender, to start the pre-foreclosure process? Because see, what a lot of people don't know, when the bank comes after you to repossess the home from you, foreclose on you, call the note due, they hire an attorney So let's start there. You fall behind. Typically, what I see on average, you fall behind right around the 5 to 6 month mark on your payments. You fall behind 5 or 6 payments, the bank is going to be on you. Let me say that again. Typically 5 to 6 months of non-payments. And this is where a lot of people don't go wrong. That's why I'm here. A lot of people think, oh, I could just pay my mortgage if I'm behind. I get behind 2-3 months, or I could just send in a payment and I'll save my face. I'll be all right. I'll save grace from getting behind, on my payments. False. When you fall behind, this is not like a car payment. This is not a credit card payment. This ain't a payment to your utility bill. This is a mortgage payment, okay? We're dealing with lenders. And a lot of y'all don't know. See, this is why I'm giving this sauce. A lot of y'all don't know. Majority of the time, if you're not with a big bank, if you're not with a Carrington, I got them right here. Let me read some of them off to you. PNC, Wilmington. A lot of these people, a lot of these banks, they sell them off. Mellon Bank, Portfolio, Auckland. If you're not with those guys, Rocket Mortgage. If you don't have a loan through that lending company, even if you do, you might start out with one company. They sell the loan on the second market, but that's a whole nother topic. I want to stay on topic, but I want to make this point. Most of the time, your lender is a person. It be one person. It's one investor. Okay? I'm just letting you know. How do I know? I've done short sales in the past, and everything went through one investor. He held the note. Not a corporation, not a fund. All right. So I just want to, FYI, sometimes it's one person that holds the fate of the loan. Okay. So let's get back on topic. You fall behind on your payments. Okay. You can't pay 1 month and you are current. You can't pay 2 months. If you fall behind 4 months, you have to make 4 payments. How's my volume? Good. You have to pay the entirety of what's past due. So hypothetically, let's say your monthly payment with escrow, PTI, all of that is $1,000. You fall behind 3 payments, you're past due $3,000 plus late fees. You have to make that entire payment. Okay, you can't pay $1,500. You can't pay $1,000. The banks don't go for that. Okay, that's number one. All right, so FYI, just for my people to know, you fall behind, 1 payment's not going to do it. 2 payments. If you behind 4 payments, you got to pay the whole bill in the entirety. And see, that's where most people fall victim to pre-foreclosure. They get behind, and I talk to someone. I'll call them like, "Hey, Mr. Smith, Miss Smith, I'm reaching out to you about your home. I see you in pre-foreclosure." And the first thing they tell me, I tried to send in a payment. This is what the seller tell me, the homeowner. I tried to send in a payment. The bank sent it back. That's right. If you send in what's not due on that bill, if you send in what's not a right amount, correct amount, they will reject the payment. Okay? So follow me. Let's say you fall in hard times. Let's say you fall behind, you lose your... Listen, life happens, y'all. No one's perfect. Nobody perfect does. S happens. You fall behind, you lose your job, your wife is sick, I don't know, your kid is sick. Many reasons people fall behind on their mortgage payment. You're unemployed, you get laid off, you took a pay cut, whatever. So again, let's go back to what I said about 10 minutes ago. If you got an FHA mortgage, if you got a VA mortgage, even if you got a conventional mortgage, if this is your first time offender, hit the like button, please. I see 3 of y'all in my chat. Hit the like button. You're a first time offender. I'm 93% sure the bank will work with you. It's called a loan modification. You got your pen and your pad out? Write it down. Loan modification. So what do you do? Well, before we talk about what do, let's talk about the cause and let's talk about the effects, the domino effect of what happens. Here's what happens to most people who get behind on their mortgage. What they don't know, there are attorneys, there are businesses out there who prey on people in foreclosure, particularly real estate foreclosure attorneys. This is their niche. This is their niche. This is what they deal with. This is their expertise. So how do they prey on consumers, unassuming, non-knowledgeable consumers who don't know what to do, but they swoop in for the kill. Okay? How do they swoop in for the kill? Here's what happens. In America, everything is public record when it comes to foreclosures, because you have to do something called a publication in the newspaper. It has to get publicized publicly. So, probates, you get a ticket, you go to jail. It's all public record. So you got people out there who are looking for unassuming consumers, homeowners who are desperate, and they use a lot of fear. Okay, if you've been in foreclosure before, you probably already know what I'm about to say. So you fall in foreclosure. The bank sends you a notice saying you're in default essentially on your payments. You listen. You don't pay your credit card bill. You don't pay your phone bill. You don't pay your car note. In America, your phone is blowing up. You're getting notices. So when you don't pay your mortgage, your phone is off the chain, right? So you start getting a bunch of calls from the bank. You start getting telemarketers, but more importantly, attorneys are going on the public record, the docket, county records. County records is where I can find you at. Is where I find my deals at, because I come across people who inherit a foreclosure, which is a whole nother live. That's more game. If you're trying to get in the game to buy deals, hit me up. Hit me up. I can teach you how to find deals. But we talking about the homeowner. This stream is about the homeowner strictly. How to save your property. Again, I've sat across the table from people and explaining them. I have given them the free sauce. Like, listen, ma'am, listen, sir. I would rather for you to keep your house. I don't want to come in here and buy your house, 50 cents on a dollar, 60 cents on a dollar. You have no hope. There is a way out. Okay, so bam, let's go back. You get on the foreclosure list, attorneys start calling, particularly real estate foreclosure attorneys. The first thing they tell you need representation. You need representation. They paint the banks and lenders as the bad guy, which they are. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of these, I'm not even gonna say a lot, y'all. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say about 90% of the lenders, man, they are the rackets. They're the mob. They get what they want. Oh, you best believe it. In the end, the banks get what they want, but that's another story. So, attorney will call, okay, tell you what, here's what I can offer. I can, and this is where they get us, okay? People, when you get in pre-foreclosure, understand the work that this attorney is calling you, sending you a letter in the mail for, the services that this attorney is offering, you can do yourself. Earlier this year, I helped the lady out. She got ripped off, okay? And I'm not, listen, this stream is not about putting these attorneys on blast, but I have to give the facts, okay? I'm here to give the facts and the knowledge for y'all, okay? 1 second. Well, man. 1 second, man. Yeah, 1 second. All right. There was a young lady in pre-foreclosure, did not know nothing about nothing. An attorney called her and said, hey, I need to get you an extension. And I'm going to go in depth about these extensions. I'm going to get you an extension so we could drag the case out. Now, I recommend dragging out the case if you're in a situation like if you can get a modification or forbearance, you're going to get that. And I'm going to talk about that. So back to the young lady. She didn't know, like, listen, ma'am. She already had gave the guy the money. The guy went in. He filed stuff on her behalf. Now, you got to be careful, though. Okay, you got to be careful because I spoke with my attorney on how this is done. You can write into the courts and say, hey, Mr. Judge, Mrs. Judge, I'm writing you in regards to your, you got your case number. You put the lender name, you put your name, you put plaintiff, which is the bank, you're the defendant. I'm writing you in regards to this matter at hand. I would like to request an extension for 90 days. Okay. From my understanding in Florida, typically you can get 3 extensions. Okay. Now here's the bad stuff. An attorney can rip you off. I've seen attorneys charge people thousands to do that. You type a letter, you sign it, you go file it at the clerk of court, at your clerk of court office at City Hall. You do not need an attorney, folks, to do that. So that's number one. You on hard times, whatever. Money's low, financial ruin. You might need some time. Okay, cool. You don't want to jump into a loan modification, and we're going to talk about how to do that shortly. You don't want to jump into a forbearance because you feel like you need to get back on your feet. We all been there. It might take you 6 months to a year to rebound financially. So you might say, you know what? I need about a good 6 months. You can request it. You don't need to hire an attorney for $350 a month. You don't need to pay a retainer for $2,000. All right, folks? So that's one way you can save your home. You can file and request an extension from the court. And listen, St. Lucie, Indian River, Palm Beach, Broward, I don't do Miami. Those 4 counties, I'm familiar with all the judges. My attorney has told me, man, listen, these judges done seen your name on so many damn motions and complaints and filings. They know you. So, how I, give value to a person is, hey, Judge Levin, St. Lucie, Judge Levin, Judge Burton, Palm Beach County, if you know, you know. These people know, I don't know them personally. They know my attorney, my litigator, they know very well. They know my face is clean. So if I run into a guy or a gal or a family, typically I deal with families that inherit a property that falls into foreclosure. They're terrified. Why are they terrified? Because they feel like the foreclosure is going to go on their credit. So let me just say that, even though this is a little off topic, if your mom passes away, your father, your brother, your sister, whoever, somebody in your family passes away, and there's a mortgage on the property, there's a debt that's owed, and you are the heir to the estate of that person, of that said person, you are not tied to that debt. That debt is tied to the property. Okay? All right. So now let's talk about let's talk about how to get a modification. It's simple. And what you got to do, okay? I did it. I did this totally free this year for a gentleman. It's a house that him and his ex-girlfriend owned. She abandoned. She walked away from the property. He didn't know what to do. I met him at Starbucks. We called. So, okay, first thing you're going to do, you take your bank statement, all right? You look at it, there should be a contact number. You call that number. It's either a loss mitigation, short sale department, hardship department, foreclosure department. It's one of those names. You get in contact with the person and you say, hey, I have a hardship. He was a first-time offender. They approved him right there on the spot. Didn't want no financial documents, no bank statements. They didn't even want a letter. They approved them right there. Now, here's the catch with the when you get granted a hardship, when you get granted a forbearance, when you get granted a loan modification, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna modify your loan. So let's say you're behind 5, 6, 7, 8 payments. They'll take those payments and they'll put them on the back of the loan. Okay. Here's the kicker. They might raise the interest. And more than likely, they're going to give you a 3-month trial. That's what happens majority of the time. They give you a 3-month trial. So they might say, okay, Mr. Smith, you say, hey, here's what I can afford. I can afford $1,500 a month. Say your payment is $1,700 a month or $1,800. Let's say your payment $2,000. You tell that department, hey, I can only afford $1,300, $1,400 for the next 90 days. They're going to give it to you. Here's the catch. Most banks will say, okay, we'll give you that. All right. They'll probably give you 60 days, 30 days to start those payments. But the catch to it, there's a caveat. The contingency is you have to make all of those payments on time. If you miss one payment, if you late one payment or you don't make a payment, your modification is dissolved, okay? And you go back into pre-foreclosure and you will never get a loan modification ever again. Okay, so it's kind of like you back on probation, like you start a new job, you're in a probationary period. Simple as that. All right, now, couple pitfalls. I'm almost done here. I'm gonna wrap up. All right. I hope this provides value and clarity. If you fall into pre-foreclosure, there may be some people out there who try to convince you to do a short sale. You may not know because what's owed. You may not know the value of the property. Get with a realtor. If you have so let's talk worst case scenario. Okay, let's talk to those people. Worst case scenario people. So here are the pitfalls. You may have to only do a short. You may only have the option to do a short sale. So what does that mean? Let's hypothetically say you owe $280 and the house is worth $295. It's not a lot of meat on the bone, or you just that's almost upside down, or you just upside down all the way. You owe $150 and the house is worth $100. Okay, when you do a short sale, folks, it can be a great thing, especially if you have no other options. I will say to the people who have no other options, I would not let the bank take the property unless you just over it. You'll be surprised, folks. I'm telling y'all be surprised, bro. How many people just say to hell with it and they go in foreclosure and they let the bank take it, not knowing they could have sold it themselves. They could have did a short sale. Never, ever, ever, ever. This is my advice. Never, ever, ever do a deed in lieu. The banks will try to finesse you. Okay, they'll say, "Oh, do a deed in lieu." What's a deed in lieu? A deed in lieu is essentially you assign your ownership of the property back over to the bank, and they're not even the owner. They have a first lien position. You sign your rights and ownership over them in exchange for not having a foreclosure on your record. Essentially, a clean slate. Don't do that. Do a short sale before you do that. Now, if you can't do a short sale, try to hook up with a realtor and sell it. These are for my folks who have no other options. All right. Don't fall for the deed in lieu, and don't be quick to do a short sale. You know, I would recommend a short sale based on the scenario. And again, it depends. If you don't know the value, the key is the value of your house. The key is the value of your house. All right, y'all. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps. I had to give out this info. So again, let's recap. You need an extension, go to the city clerk. The city clerk, the clerk of courts, just go to the office, bro. And they will walk and say, "Hey, I'm here to file a motion on my pre-foreclosure case." All you need is your case number. They will direct you. Now you type up your letter, you explain to the judge. Now, if you're going to sell the property, okay, so you need some time to get things together to sell the property, you could get an extension. And let me say this: most foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, most pre-foreclosures from start to finish. Okay, so let's say you do nothing. Let's say I get served tomorrow on my house. You know, I start making the payments hypothetically, and I do nothing. I don't hire no lawyer. I don't make no filings, no motions. I don't call my bank, my lender. I don't do nothing. It's going to take about roughly right around 8 to 10 months for the pre-foreclosure to fully get executed and processed, meaning from step one to the end, bank auction. So you got about a year, man. And if you want, listen, okay, let's go back to that quickly and out in the stream. For my folks out there who want to stretch it out, because you could listen. I've seen foreclosures stretch out for years. I don't know why. Just know if you do stretch out the foreclosure, if that's your plan of attack for whatever reason, you know, that's just an attorney being greedy. They're getting retainers and they charging you monthly. They just, you know, squeezing all the juice out the lemon. You the lemon. They sucking all your money out from you. If you want to stretch it out, you can, bro. You can. I would say, all right, you want to stretch this out for a year? You want to stretch this out for 2 years? Hire an attorney. They'll do it. They'll know how to do it. Which you doing it yourself, you won't get a year. You might get 9 months. An attorney will know how to file the motions on the docket. They will know how to strike stuff. It gets complicated, all right? So I gave y'all some basic information that will help you. If you got any questions, go to my Instagram. Here's my Instagram. I put it in the chat. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Go to my Instagram, I Trap Houses. That's me right there. It's in the chat. Share this video. All right, so y'all have a good night. Give me some feedback. If you watch the restream, you want a part 2, let's get to it. I'm out. Peace.